them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. I don't know. We've been away for a while because of obviously schedule conflicts. We would never want to just run away from y'all, not do the pod. It was simply scheduling conflicts, and then we took Juneteenth off to celebrate our freedom. Nah, just play. But we had a conflict on the Juneteenth week. Then we had Josh was took a family vacation, so I let him talk about that. But yeah, we just had a few different conflicts that we weren't able to get together, do the pods, but we are back here today, and we got a whole bunch to talk about, so we're going to try to get through all of it. But yeah, a lot has happened. A lot's going on. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing, how's life going, games you've been playing. Talk to the people.
Yeah, I've been up and about, out and around. Family and I took a vacation, went out to Hawaii for a few days. It was really nice out there. Hawaii is very sunny, but it doesn't feel too hot. So it's a good the weather feels good, and you just want to be outside because it's a nice breeze. You might get like a quick 2-minute rain shower. It might cool you off. But yeah, it was really nice. We went out to Waikiki, which is the big tourist spot. A lot of shopping, really nice beach, and it's just very chill there. So we spent a lot of time there. Then went around the city for a bit to a couple different museums and aquariums. And then we made a 1-day trip up to. It's not the farthest side of the island, but it was on more like on the northeast side of the island.
Right.
To Kailua.
Kailua. Okay.
Yeah, there's a really good like pancake restaurant there. There's like macadamia nut pancakes, which are really good. And then we went out to the beach. And those beaches were I've never been out to the Bahamas or anything like that, but those are the nicest beaches I've ever seen. Whereas the sand is very white and soft. And I don't know how to describe it. Like if you touch sand, you feel the individual pieces. But the sand there was it felt very fine. So when you lay down in the beach, it's kind of like mud, but it like washes off right away. But it made just like sitting on the beach like very relaxing. And out there we saw it's not I guess technically a jellyfish, but it looks like a jellyfish. It's called a man of war. And I picked it up in like my daughter's little sand bucket, and we were looking at it up close. Nobody touched it because I know better than that. But when I looked it up later, oh yeah, that's a super
yeah, I thought that was poisonous,
dangerous.
Right? That was poisonous.
It's poisonous, yeah. It won't kill adults, but it will give you the flu, and your arm will be burning for a long time.
Gotcha. That man was out there playing.
They say it's a little more dangerous for kids, so you got to be careful. But yeah, it was really small. It was like the size of a quarter. Gotcha. I guess maybe it was a baby or something like that. But it's funny because we were just in the water, playing around, letting my daughter float, and I saw it, and it looked like a piece of plastic, but I saw the blue like tentacles, and we went over and looked at it. But if we didn't notice, it was just floating like by my leg.
Oh wow. Gotcha. So could have been different.
Yeah.
Nice experience.
But come to find out that area, they do pop up pretty regularly, so you just gotta look out for that. So that's something we'll have to think about next time we go out to a beach like that, because when I go to a beach in like Detroit or something like that, we don't have exotic animals, so I'm not thinking about what type of dangers this is around. But if you go out to Hawaii, there are jellyfish, there are sharks, there are stuff like that. So you should at least do a little research to see what spots are you gotta look out for.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Other than that, I tried to play as much Elden Ring as I could while we were traveling. I was playing on my handheld PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the DLC, but I'm enjoying it. I haven't finished it yet. I've been trying to do as much as I can in the DLC. I think I'm pretty much at the final dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just going around clearing up all the other bosses I might have missed and trying to collect all those upgrade fragment things.
Scadoot tree. Yeah, fragments.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
yeah, but
uh,
it's really fun. I'm at like 40 hours for the DLC, I think.
mm-hmm.
I haven't done every single thing, but most of I've been to all the areas and I've fought all the big bosses. I just haven't found, every like weapon and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you was able to get that time to relax and get a little gaming in too. Because I know that is difficult, but I know these handheld things be helping us out when it comes to being family oriented, but also on a game. So glad you was able to do that. But what about you, Jalen? What you been up to? What you been doing? I know you had your Steam Deck as well, but I don't know what you've been. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where you go most of the time, but you just be out. So talk to the people.
Yeah, so I mean, so not last week, I guess 2 weeks ago when we didn't do the podcast originally, um, like you said, Juneteenth celebrations. I had did like a last minute trip to New York to go hang out with my friends and stuff like that. So I was living in New York for like 24 hours, and I ended up coming back and stuff like that. So that was a little bit of an endeavor. It was cool though. Real sweet trip, stuff like that. So because me and my friend just converged in one area. So one of my friends came from like DC area. One other one of my friends came from like Grand Rapids area, and I had came from Chicago. So we all had met in DC or New York at the same time, and then we had hung out for the day and pretty much left. So
Okay.
uh yeah, that's cool. And then we had some people that we knew in New York that had went to Western and stuff like that. So it was all cool. And then another one of my friends, she stayed in like Newark area. She had met us there too, so we were just all together for a little bit of time. So short and sweet. Um, Following week, I mean, what I do recently, I had just went out of town to Cancun. It was my first time in Mexico, so that was cool. I did something like all inclusive and stuff like that. It was cool for what it was. But I do got different opinions. I guess it kind of remind me similar to like a cruise. Uh,
Okay.
I mean, like with the food wasn't that greatest. Um, I got this video of me chewing the steak. I'm like, bro, if y'all want me to just lose my teeth, man, just hand me some pliers and I yank them on myself, bro. Like the way I was chewing that steak, I'm like, bro, you need the biting power of 10,000 guys to eat this steak, bro. Like, what's going on here? Um, that and then the drinks they had, there's something about the drinks, all inclusive, unlimited drinks. I'm like, they got bottom shelf, man. I'm like, man, I'm back in. I didn't start drinking until I was 23, but people always talk about bottom shelf liquor. Drinking the Jose Cuervo, the El
Uh-huh.
Jimador, and all that type of. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, I can't be drinking that, man. Can't do that, man. So
Yeah.
just between that, the weather wasn't the greatest. Overall, it was a good experience. It was something different for me. I always wanted to go to Mexico. I always want to try it. I'm going jet skiing and like parasailing or whatever, all
Mm-hmm.
different things and stuff. I've been jet skiing before. I just wish the weather was just a little bit better. It was warm and stuff like that, or hot, I should say. It just was a little cloudy and rainy a
Gotcha.
couple of days and stuff like that. Yeah, so I had did that. So I've been kind of like up and moving. Not gonna lie to you, my stomach been a little upside down. I was probably drinking a little bit too much of their water and eating
Mm,
leafy green vegetables over there. I'm looking like,
leafy
man, my
green
stomach in
vegetable.
shambles. That contamination, boy, that Giardia on that mug, like, yeah. Them protozoas, man. So I
Hey,
probably
hey,
done did that.
I
And
thought the
I learned
water
all that
wasn't
about that in
safe.
school.
I thought the water was safe in Mexico, but I don't. I could be wrong.
It it's probably safe, man, but some of the standards ain't the same. So it was like, my
Yeah.
stomach ain't been right, and I ain't even gonna say it. Travelers, you can look it up. I mean, that's the main cause is like, I worked about this in school and stuff like that, man. So I was .Ls. I'm still .Ls now. I'm like, man, if this keep going on, I'm gonna go to the doctor. But hey, bro, hey, just go ahead and give me some metronidazole real quick, so I can just get this taken care of. Something in my stomach throwing a blast. They throwing a little party in that mud. I'm like, they really throwing a slapper, but.
Yeah.
In the midst of all that, I mean, I ain't really been playing much. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts over the course of, they've been making cameos on my Instagram story and stuff like that, even on my little TikTok. Kingdom Hearts on that mud, what?
Yeah.
So I've been playing that on my Steam Deck. So that's been pretty smooth. So,
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, it was kind of a weird one, like I said, where we were out, but I mean, I was still around just doing stuff. Juneteenth, we went to like one of those events down at our town square, and we kind of just was doing stuff down there with the kids and stuff like that. So I really didn't have much going on during those weeks. Last week it was more so just simply playing a lot of um, Elden Ring, like a significant amount more than I ever expected to. But then I switched over to Diablo midweek, and I ran through that campaign too. So I did have a lot of time to kind of play games, but I've been playing them obviously on these handhelds because I ain't really got time to sit in front of something. But I was streaming most of the time for Elden Ring, which is it's not hard really. I thought it was gonna be like bad, but with Moonlight, streaming it from your PC, it really is like almost lossless, so you don't really have like a lot of lag or anything like that. So I was able to kill a few bosses while I was playing on that. I actually killed some of the bigger ones while I was doing that because I would at some points come upstairs and fight them on my PC because I was like, bruh, they keep on doing like extra stuff, but then sometimes I could like figure out their moves enough to, and they have plenty of like wide openings, but those ones that were ganky, I had to come upstairs and kind of play them on my PC. But overall, yeah, I had a good experience with just streaming them. Anyways, the kids, we didn't really do much over this weekend. We're gonna do something for July. We got something going on July 4th. We're gonna go to our downtown area and watch some fireworks and I don't know, get some. I know they have a street festival going on, so they're gonna have a bunch of food trucks out there too. So we'll just check that out with them and then watch the fireworks when the sun go down. So that's our plans. But honestly, it's been games. What can I say? I like games. I have put in a lot of time on Fire Emblem again. I remember I don't know if I said it on the pod, but I lost a lot of my data when I was playing that. But actually gotten back and moved forward on that too. So a lot of the handhelds are helping me get gaming in because I can't sit nowhere. So, but yeah, it's cool in that regard. But I ain't been doing much. I ain't got a lot going on outside of battling the carpenter ants coming on my porch. And I got some real backup now, so we ain't seen a peep. We ain't seen that one. I had to go pay that fare. I had to go pay that fee, but carpenter ants you don't want around on your porch and all that stuff. So another one of those dad moments where I'm just talking about stuff that don't matter. But if you ever have carpenter ants, obviously they can mess up your foundation and structuring. So just want to make sure you get rid of those. So we got some professional help, and they did. They gone. So, but yeah, that's about all I've done this entire little week. Been chilling, man. Playing games and having some actual fun with them. And I'll tell you why I had fun with Elden Ring when we get into it. But I had to switch to PC and do all that extra stuff. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Where should we begin with this this large I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna praise it first because the things I really love about this DLC is that it is difficult. Unfortunately, these games are difficult. I think we all should have known when they wanted us to kill Mog, which is probably one of the more difficult ones if you don't have all the right things to kill. Plus Radon, I think that we should have kind of had a precedent that they were probably going to have some tough battles ahead, and they did. They had a significant amount of those, but it really just felt good to get back into the Elden Ring, honestly, and kind of break the game where you could and not where you couldn't. I really I could tell you why I had fun, and I'll start there. But first thing is the DLC was great in my opinion. I felt like it was almost perfect. I thought a lot of it was just super enjoyable, really engaging, and most of the time, most fun thing for me is just exploring and finding stuff new, and that is what I got because I did not have anybody saying, "Hey, this is where you need to go next." I didn't have any guides to kind of take me to where I needed to go. It was kind of all just heavy exploration and having a good time. But I say that with a caveat that essentially I went in kind of overpowered technically because I had the ability to upgrade anything I wanted because due to just using a mod save. With that being said, I very much so limited myself on what I use because there is fun and then there's just overrunning everything. I don't think that's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's fine to like skip out on that grind because
Yeah.
that's always been an issue I have with the Souls games. Is like, well, if I want to try different weapons, I gotta play through the game multiple times so I can get the upgrade materials. And Elden Ring made it a little bit easier because you can buy some stuff, but still, some of
Yeah.
the like highest level upgrade materials you gotta like just wait to New Game Plus or like you know go treasure hunting and find like the most secret cave to find the extra upgrade material where that's not really like I don't get any enjoyment out of that. So
Actually,
yeah,
at
just
all. So that
yeah.
being stripped away, I was so like happy I did that because I knew that, and I was able to use new stuff. And I was so happy because I was just able to use new stuff. I didn't have to just use the old stuff that I had already upgraded, and I'm basically just playing through the game with that same experience. I'm a variety player. I really don't like being pigeonholed into one thing in one different scenario. So it was very cool for me to have that experience of playing Elden Ring with mods versus not. Because I probably will play those games normally when I first run through them, but it's a totally different experience when you are playing those games with the ability to just upgrade what you find and enjoy and just kind of run with it. So totally different experience for me. And I say that because everybody probably didn't have that type of experience. Everybody was just probably having a more standard experience of using the things that they already had, and if they did try to change up something, they probably had to go find that and grind. But do I feel like the DLC overall by the end of it I had a lot of variety to upgrade stuff? Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I went through and looked at everything I started with and what I was adding on to, so I actually did that because I wanted to say, okay, if I played this normally, would I have been able to get enough upgrades to upgrade everything I wanted to with this playthrough? And I'm talking 5-6 things. I'm not talking a lot of stuff. I'm talking about 5-6 things. You have your experience of what you had previously, but then you have the things that you take on. And I think most of the time I ended up with like 10 stones. Like it wasn't like a lot to really get through all the upgrade channels you had to go through. So I say that to say, yeah, it probably wouldn't have been the funnest if you are not able to experiment. But once you have that unlocked ability to experiment, I'm not saying that they don't give you the ability to buy stuff and like go find those bales or whatever. I'm just saying that there is a level of appreciation I have for the DLC that's different because I was able to play it with this, freedom of potential. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you could really experiment with any build
Yeah.
or any weapon, and
Correct.
that's good because pretty much all the DLC weapons that I've seen are really good in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not my playstyle, like I don't like big hammers, but they're like so many good weapons, and they
Right.
have like unique move sets.
Right.
So every time I picked up something, it's like, oh, I want to try it, and I could just go swing at like a random enemy, but uh just being able to have upgrade materials just available,
Yeah.
which was good because I did the same thing where I just added a shop where I can just get as many upgrade materials as I need. Because like, yeah, if I played this game for 300 hours 2 years ago, sure, I would have everything, but I started over on PC, and I just wanted to play the DLC, so I just got the upgrade materials I needed, and that allowed me to experiment with any weapon I wanted.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. To be fair, in the DLC there is a whole lot of upgrade materials, but if I pick up a new sword, I want to try it. I don't want to spend 20 hours trying to get the uh right build, so then it could be viable to then see. Oh, well, actually, I like my old weapon better, so let me switch back.
Yeah, and I think and the good thing about this DLC is that they really did make it where the scalability means nothing. So it did feel like I could just try a new weapon and like it and feel like it was still doing an impact before upgrading it. But yes, once you got it to that higher tier, you felt the difference versus when you started off with it hitting with the first, on that first level basically without upgrading it. So there is the uniqueness of the weapons that you can just enjoy straight off the bat, but there is that level of, okay, I want to make sure that this is using it up to its maximum potential. I want to see what it does there versus now. And I think that is the level of game that just helped me have had me more freedom of choice versus being pigeonholed and stuck with, oh, I gotta make this decision right now and I can't really change it later if I there's no way to. So just like they do it with
So,
the with the character, I feel like they should have some type of system for weapons and things like that, just so you can kind of continue to, try stuff. So until they
mhm.
do that, I think that this is a great way, option. You don't have to try. You can be one of those guys that just want to, murder yourself and just keep doing the same thing over and over again, trying to make it seem like it's going to be viable. When honestly, they put a lot of stuff in the game for you to use, and um, that is the point of the game, is kind of to build out your character to how you want to play. Honestly, if I want to be all spells, I can be. If I want to go straight to strength, then I can be. And I want to scale it certain ways. There's a lot of different things that kind of open up for you. So um, playing it just one way is kind of boring. So I'm glad I was able to get that experience of just variety at the beginning of a DLC. Not a game, but the
Yeah.
DLC.
I was gonna ask, what weapons did you like using?
I liked the new great katana. I liked the dragon sword a lot because that thing nasty. That thing broken.
Yeah,
Because it just has
I've been
so
using that a
much
lot.
it has so much range on its like our on its special, because if you
Mhm.
hold it down, I mean, I was tearing up. I forget his name, the dragon you fight, but I was tearing him up with that one because it was just like
Yeah,
with the dragon grease and the ability to kind of swing that mug far. He was pretty easy to fight and win. That's one of the ones I won playing streaming it. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I was able to say, "Oh, this is a dragon guy. This is a weapon for dragons. Let me try it and let me just, versus
yeah,
continuously using the same thing I was using. Not saying that was the only thing I changed, but there was ones that I picked and chose of like what I wanted to try out, and I thought that was one of the cooler ones because it had like an automatic buff of fighting dragons that they kind of tempted you to want to try anyway. So all the
yeah.
dragons running around. So that was one of them. Doing long range stuff. It was I liked it I liked the twin blades from, shoot, is it Renalia?
Alana.
Irlana. I liked those a little bit, but I'm not big on that type of I guess that style. The way they
Hmm.
the way they swing, I kind of I'm like I was heavy on the katanas, which I think that game kind of ruined it because I liked them so much, but um everything else for me. But I was playing with that, and it was something else that I was trying a lot. Um, what else? It was that. It was those two, but it's one more I can't remember. But it was a few
Mhm.
of their swords. I know I was using the main final boss. I ain't gonna say his name because if maybe people ain't played it yet, but the final boss's weapons, I was using that too, and I thought those were really cool because I liked it in the beginning anyway. So I actually do enjoy those weapons too. But there's a few others that I was testing out. The one from the if you make your way down to the ruined woods, there's a crazy man with that does
And the
nothing.
frenzy weapon.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
frenzy. So those are crazy. And I use the fist weapons, and I use the Madman's hand, which was kind of melted Luna and like all her little buddies. I was melting them fools. Anyways, if you ever got to that part yet, it's a lot of fun and enjoyment in this game. If you haven't gotten far yet, sorry, but there's a lot of cool things you could do in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Dragon Blade is really good. I picked it up, and they added a whole bunch of dragon related like buffs. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can turn yourself into a dragon, and that gives you more defensive and offensive buffs. There's a bunch of items to use for dragons. So yeah, when I fought the big fat dragon, I whooped him because I was fully powered up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
uh,
it just feels good to kind of have maybe have experiment. I just think it felt good. I just like this is how you're supposed to play this game, and that's what I felt like when I
yeah,
was playing it.
because that's one of the good things about the DLC is that there's a lot of weapons and they all feel viable and then they all feel like they can be pushed to be broken. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the whole point of Souls games is kind of to find a build that you like that you can push to be super broken. And
Mm-hmm.
in some games it's not as like fun because they got to spend a lot of time like balancing PvP and stuff. But for this DLC, it just felt good. I could pick up any weapon, and there's a whole bunch of accessories that can make it just really, you know,
Mm-hmm.
make the game kind of a cakewalk. Which is fun because we want it to be challenging, but you also want it to be fun.
Yeah.
I also use Rolana's twin swords. I like those a lot because they're just very versatile moveset,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the magic and the fire. It was really useful for like just going through all the different dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, and new dragon spells. I tried all of the fist weapons and things like that, but right now I'm just running around with the dragon like build, where I have my dragon do no armor, uh, no defense. But before the fight, I buff myself like 20 times and then go in.
Yep. I got so tired of buffing myself. I stopped doing all buffs. I was like, I don't really want to do this because I feel like it messed me up. I'm sitting there 20 seconds doing all the buffs before I fight, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna go over and whoop him. So then I just started really just tackling it without buffs. But obviously, I'm still using broken stuff, so
Yeah,
it's
no,
not working.
it definitely got annoying.
Yeah.
Gets annoying because you walk in the boss gate and then here come the boss doing a
Something
meteor
stupid,
smash
bro.
at the
You
door.
got now you got 3 seconds. Now you wasted 20 seconds trying to go back in and fight for 3 seconds. I'm like, bro, I'm done with this. So I stopped doing it until I was like, I'm confident I can get through all of these first phases before I started like buffing myself and finally, okay, this the run. But yeah, like I said, I was really happy to kind of get back to just playing Elden Ring again and enjoying it for what it is. But this was a solid, very solid DLC for me, for sure. Exploration, story, at least having something I can actually understand, at least. Obviously,
Mhm.
their stories are all over the place. You gotta go read a book and then watch a lore video before you can really understand what's all going on. But the amount of things that they put in and tried to wrap up, at least, I felt like it was really good there. So, and I liked the big twist, of course.
Yeah. So definitely less cryptic, even though they don't do a whole lot of like direct storytelling, but it's a
Mhm.
lot easier to follow,
Yeah.
especially compared to the main game where everybody got like three different names and they like double crossing each
Yes.
other. It's like I
Yes.
even if I paid attention, I wouldn't remember all these names.
Right. We had a singular goal. The singular goal was to kind of walk that path of Mikola, and it kind of had a ending per se. So that was what I valued about that part of it. And yeah. So let's talk about how expansive I guess it was. Do you feel like I think this is probably the biggest DLC I ever played, but I mean that's just landscape wise. I think they build big worlds like that for a reason to kind of have you, oh wow, I didn't even know this was down here. Like every time I go to a place, I'm like, I don't think I could ever get down there. Then I find a way to go down there or go around there or go to there. It's like it was like so expansive and opening, I guess, to the point where I was like the exploration just felt like it was on point. It didn't feel like it was lazy. It didn't feel like it was just reused stuff. It just felt really, really to me like they have a really good understanding of what someone wants out of exploration, and maybe the reward isn't as satisfying once you get there, but the exploring of the world is more intriguing. I just felt that way when I was going around, touching all the graces and trying to get to new places. Is that I really want to figure out how to get down there, and then there's
Yeah.
some
It
epiphany
makes you
or
want to
yeah,
explore. It's not that you have to do it because
right.
you can kind of stick to the main road, but you want to see what's out there.
Yes, for sure. And they give you little teases at every cliff. Every cliff they give you a little tease. Okay, this you see where you see that? Yeah, you might be able to get down there, but I ain't gonna tell you. That's basically what it was, bro. But yeah, I think I said I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like they had so many different zones. Um, Size wise, is was that content heavy or big enough for you in regards to like content plus size? I guess I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, I mean, they definitely went off with like the just building the DLC world. It feels it's definitely their biggest DLC that they've ever made, but it also feels like there's obviously there's like padding or like extra stuff just to make it longer,
Uh
but
huh.
it doesn't feel like any of the areas are kind of wasted. Like when you play through Elden Ring, a lot of the game feels like fun and like good quality. But then there's some areas where it's like, well, we just made this area 20 times bigger so
Yeah.
that you in 10 minutes riding a horse. Whereas the DLC is very big, but
Hmm.
all the content in there feels good. Like the normal enemies, they're usually pretty interesting. You get good rewards for doing the little dungeons. There's
Hmm.
only like five, only like 10 little dungeons, but they all are really interesting.
Yes.
Uh, all the zones look and feel very different,
Hmm.
which is good. Like you go out to the area with the blue flowers and it's very pretty, and then you go somewhere else and you in the mountain where it's thunder and lightning, and so
Hmm.
each area feels very high quality. So yeah, I would say this is probably the best amount of content that they've ever
Drop.
uh dropped, especially for DLC. But like um a lot of people are pointing it out, like the DLC on its own has a lot of um enough content to be its own like separate game.
Yes, I think so, and it's definitely up there when it comes to like what it felt like with like Sekiro or like one of those like those smaller but similar games. I feel like it was. Everybody just will love Bloodborne. I definitely think it was better than Bloodborne. It's like to me, I know I
Yeah,
know how it
the
goes.
older
Yeah,
DLCs they were always good, but they were like $10, $15, and
yeah,
they only added like a handful of content, like maybe 5 or 6 bosses, a couple weapons, like 10 weapons.
yeah.
But this is like, oh, we got 30 bosses, we got like 30 new weapons,
Hmm.
you got 20 different areas, and so
Yeah,
it feels
pretty massive.
very complete. Like I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm missing anything. I was like, oh, I wish it was more katanas. So like, well, we got 8 different katanas for you, so pick one.
Yeah, nah. And then on top of that, having such a large game at the beginning of that is like you basically have to be a diehard in order to kind of play through this and still enjoy it for everything it is. And I think that I don't know. I don't think that's gonna ever be recreated. It's like such a huge, massive game that's difficult at first, but they just made it more difficult with this one because they just wanted to, continue to challenge the audience or and I think that's what they did. I think they really nailed that, and I do have to bark back at the whole it's too difficult. I honestly was sitting there and I was like, I wasn't excited, but I was happy that there was difficulty in the game where there was literally things you had to think about when you're trying to win a fight. Like understanding that you have your roll down pack, you have your OP weapon, but we're just going to 2x this, but we're also going to make them aggressive. We're going to make them really, really aggressive to knock you off of your normal feet. Like every enemy probably had a quick to you charge attack so that you couldn't try to summon no mimic or it make it difficult to do any of your like trickery
You
to
want to
win.
heal, you want to run away,
You really
you
had
buff yourself in the middle of the fight.
Yes.
None of that is going.
You had to zone in, and to the average player, yes, you had to zone in. Obviously, those pros out there, they gonna find a window, they gonna do what they gotta do. But it's like the people that are more so just casual love of the game versus those diehards. This was a very large challenge to overcome for them, and I think this kind of took people from that perspective of casual to understanding the mechanics and truly getting what the value is of Elden Ring is. And I think that was really cool to see because everybody was, I know people are upset, but it was a part of it too. It's like a part of the moment for me where the difficulty.
Yeah, I feel like for this game, it's kind of obviously it's popular. A lot of people play it, and some casual like players who don't like this type of difficulty normally still enjoy the game. I don't think it was ever too difficult for the DLC. They definitely tuned the balance to be to make it where you have to like kind of adapt or play differently. Like you have to understand the mechanics. You have to use like your different buffs and talismans because you don't have enough defense by default.
Yes.
You have to go out and explore to pick up the scuttle tree fragments because you can't just. I've seen a lot of streamers and people who I'm like seen regularly play where it's like, oh, I'm gonna run into Rolana, and she killed me in 2 hits, and I'm gonna just sit here for 5 hours and keep fighting her. I was like, yes, or come back after an hour, pick up a couple fragments, and the fight gonna be 10 times easier. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want, but that's your choice to like keep hitting the wall for 5 hours. And plus there's so many like I said, literally broken like items that are easily accessible. Like the did you get the heart tier? I think it's heart tier physic. Anyways, if there's a fire golem in the first area of the game, if you kill him, he drops an item. When you put that item into your physic, it gives you the Sekiro parry. So any boss that hits you, like Rolanda, where she got like a 15 hit combo, if you time your shield, you don't take any damage and you don't take no stamina loss, and you can keep blocking it. And if you retaliate, your attack is stronger. And like that, what item is in the first area of the game. It's pretty easy to get, and it literally makes any boss easy. Like especially if you go back to Millennia. Yeah, like I didn't know about it until like halfway through my playthrough, but that item literally makes the game super easy. So when I fought like I think you might have fought like the guy on the horse, not the horse, but he was on like a wild boar. Where it's like he's just gonna keep slamming me in the corner. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna drink this potion. Now I can block your wild boar 6 hits and then hit you back, and that like changes the dynamic of the game. And I feel like that is what they want you to do, like find these items that are broken and use them to your advantage so that you can get over these really aggressive bosses.
Yeah. No, I think I think that I think there's just a level of crazy that some of these fans have that where they don't want to use any of these things, but the game is built to gank you. So I think that there's things in the system that will allow you to kind of retaliate in a better way, or like there are certain things built to take on a certain boss. I think there's a lot of that they're really trying to show in this game, that hey, some things are actually built to take on certain bosses, and they do that a lot. But in this DLC, there's a lot of things that I felt like I learned more about simply due to the level of difficulty or the times that I was able to fight, and experimenting with these different types of weapons and experimenting with poise and understanding. Like I literally had to understand more than I thought I did already knew
Mhm.
about Elden Ring by the time I was done with the DLC, simply because of how they try to change the perspective of what you usually get in a normal fight in Elden Ring. So, and I feel like they did that same thing with Elden Ring itself. It was in a bigger scale of things, but I think some things were just so like a little bit overpowered that it kind of took a life of its own versus actually allowing you to experiment truly. And that's kind of
Mhm.
where I was a problematic player versus now, where I had options, I had freedom, and I was like, let me try different things. And certain things worked better for certain fights, and some things just didn't. So that was the beauty of it for me, at least.
Oh yeah, I forgot one weapon I was using is they're the perfume bottles, but
Oh
there's a
yeah,
frenzy one, and like everything is weak to frenzy.
yeah. Hmm.
So especially the big bosses that like stand over you, you just stand under their legs and do the AOE, and they that frenzy just go keep popping.
Yeah, that was one of those ones I saw too. I never tried it, but I've seen the perfume bottles. Like I said, they do that type of stuff to help in regards to like certain fights and certain situations. I think that there's plenty of different ways to go about fighting enemies, and I think that people pigeonholing themselves or putting like a certain stipulation on how they run through the game is, it's on you. If that's your level of fun, but don't complain about it. The game isn't. I To me, it wasn't difficult, and I was beating most things within the or under the hour, or definitely not spending long periods of time on them because I was experimenting and I was enjoying the fights. But yes, there was a challenge there, but it wasn't like significant. To the point where
Yeah,
I was like, I just can't get past him unless I go find some skadoo tree fragments. I was really just exploring the world, and by the end of it, I had about 15. Um, Versus, I know there's like 50. So I was not going around doing all of them, but I think they they actually did change Elden Rings with a patch for the Skadoo Tree fragments to be a little bit more potent. But by that time, I already had beaten everything. So yeah, there is an actual value number associated with the amount that you get, but to be fair, it
yeah,
was
they
like
buffed it
one
so
time
it's
to two time, right? It wasn't like
they're
a
more
big.
effective in the beginning, a little more
Yeah.
noticeable, but
Hmm.
overall it's still the same amount of like damage and defense. It's like 5% or something each level,
Hmm.
and I don't know what they buffed it to. But yeah, you just grab like 3 levels, and that's like a 15% bonus. That's actually a big difference.
Yeah. So it really does help, and I know that people don't like to kind of go explore, but maybe that was the point of it. Everybody was so much in a rush to just beat it that they got frustrated when it would have should have been like more of a, run around the world and take your time with it and just enjoy what you're playing. So outside of that, although Elden Ring obviously is a big topic, definitely my game of the year DLC. Um,
Yeah, uh, it's it's unfortunate because I feel like this DLC so far is the best game I played this year.
Yeah, it's definitely the best game I've played this year as well. So it's going to be in a DLC bracket, but it's definitely such a significant impact to in gaming to me, like how DLC should look, what that encompasses, the value of a DLC, the amount of difficulty you can place on your players and still have a solid win or in sales and just obviously the one big thing I guess that's still out there is that is the technological aspect of it. It still doesn't
Yeah.
run to the greatest on the consoles, nor does it on the PC unless you have some really nice PC. But it's still going to drop frames every now and again. It's going to have um um what's it called? Still going to have traversal stutter. So it's still some of those things. Obviously, once you kind of load in everything and kind of let the game run, you'll probably have a pretty decent experience. But unfortunately, that is still the case here. So they need to get that fixed in line. Unfortunately, and I mean they made enough money to do so. So I will let y'all go watch the Digital Foundry where my man's ripped up. He basically just let them have it. He's like they make too much money to still be having this crappy type of gameplay. So I forget his name now. Jeez, what's his name? Anyways, the one that
I
does
forgot about the younger guy.
Alex,
Yeah.
Alex
Yeah.
something. But he does the all the PC stuff for them. And yeah, it's still not great. So but okay. Anything else on Elden Ring before I move on?
No, really good. I know people got stuff to say about the final boss, but overall I feel happy about it, and I still looking forward to what they do next. But I guess do y'all want well, I guess just quickly for both y'all, are you interested in more Elden Ring, or are you more interested in a new thing, Dark Souls, Vikings, or whatever? Like, what else do you want to see from them?
For me, I guess I am looking forward to both. I love streamlined versions of their games, but I also love this open world aspect too. Um, I enjoy the difficulty of their games, and I enjoy the world building that they do. I think Elden Ring has shown me a lot, and I'm okay with that being on a break for a bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with either Sekiro or what they do next with either Dark Souls or what they do next with Bloodborne if they ever revisit it. So I'm really okay with either way. Honestly, I like their gameplay. Open world aspect of it makes it fun and enjoyable, but it definitely makes it less accessible to the people that don't have a lot of time. But
Hmm.
honestly, I feel like yeah, this is the longest I ever played a FromSoft game. So 30 hours, 40 hours is normally my time, but I'm at like 170. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is a stark difference than what I'm normally used to when I'm playing their traditional games. So there is a level of fun and enjoyment and exploration, but there's also a level of fun and enjoyment in providing that really nice feeling of short opening shortcuts and being able to have all that connectivity too. Like they have that as in the mini dungeons that you get, so you get the best of both worlds. But I can always see myself running 10 or 7 back-to-back dungeons and still having a great time. So you know that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. No, same sentiments. I like what they make, whether it's revisiting a old IP or doing something new. I guess I'm just impressed with how often they keep doing new stuff, even though obviously there's a lot of similarities, and you
Hmm.
don't break was
Yeah,
don't try to fix what's not broken.
yeah.
But between Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring, I think they proved that they can kind of do any setting. So yeah, if they want to do something new, I'm be looking forward to it. But obviously, Elden Ring is super popular, so we might see an Elden Ring 2 or something.
Yeah. So okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on here. Let's go to my next topic, which I'm going to be talking Mad Diablo, which I'm looking forward to the DLC now. So kind of wanted to express my appreciation to Blizzard for truly making a satisfying DLC. Not DLC. Sorry, thinking Elden Ring. A truly satisfying story, because I didn't even think I was going to like Diablo's story. I didn't think it was worthy of the, like, I was like, okay, people are saying that it's good. Okay, great. But I'm assuming like, yeah, it's just probably a good, filler story. But no, it's actually a part of the main story. It's actually like a way to kind of get you connected to some of the characters in the world, but also like their issues. And it's a lot more grounded in not reality, but like I guess it's more grounded towards people just doing stupid stuff, bad stuff, and betrayals and all that stuff. It definitely feels like a more Game of Thrones esque story than a just a traditional we got to fight this bad guy and we don't really know where our enemy is coming from type of story. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really valuable to have that type of perspective in the Diablo world. Maybe that's always been the case, but I don't know because I ran through Diablo 3 and I don't remember anything that happened in it. So I felt like this one was more front and center. There's a lot of great choices that they made and decided to do. Some things I didn't like, in regards to the new Loot Reborn systems and how they level people. It was one of those gripes about, how the world gets leveled up as you level up. So there's no area in this world where you can go back to and run through stuff because they're leveled up to now. So it just feel like you're not getting that power fantasy that you normally would get in Diablo, where you can just melt things quickly. Some things does stay the same, but most things in the open world, you're going to run into another level of whatever level you are. You're going to run into a level that level of character, but it does keep everything, I guess, fresh, I suppose. But in my opinion, I think there is the Loot Reborn systems. I haven't really dwelled deep into it. I'm only a level like what 40, 48. So I don't really I haven't gotten to the end game yet. That's like 60, 70, 80, up to 100. I'm not there yet. So I am really still working through the progression system, trying to get to tier 3 and kind of going from there to kind of unlock the rest of the stuff. So so to me, when I was playing through it though, I felt powerful. I felt like I was actually getting things that were making my build stronger and helping me play the way I wanted to play, or manipulating the way I wanted to play in a lot of good ways. A lot of synergy within my weapons and my rings and all my gear. A lot of synergy there. There was things that I was holding on to because I felt like they were still powerful, in a different way if I was fighting certain things. Never got to that point where I needed to switch up my loadout because I felt like the difficulty was I was playing on the hardest difficulty provided at the time. But it never felt like the difficulty got too bad where I had to do any switching. I only died once, and that was on Lilith. But it was kind of like it felt good to have that feeling of if I take this armor off, I'm gonna get cooked. But if I keep it on, I'm actually kind of overpowered. So it was kind of like that, where it did have that level of excitement of new gear, of finding new stuff and being able to switch out things and try new things. And it felt like my drops were meaningful to a degree. Not the blues or the or I'm sorry, unfortunately, the rares weren't either. At the point where I got past that, it was all about the legendaries and what they're dropping. And I feel like I got a lot of variety of that by the end of the game, and I had my whole player stacked with legendaries. But it's not, there's more levels and more tiers to all of that stuff. You can get uniques in the first tier, and I actually was able to get one, but I'm pretty sure everybody got that one for Lilith. But there is a lot of those moments where I felt like I had like an extra jump in my power, and I felt like I was running through things and being able to take stuff on and not die, and I just felt good about it. So to me, whatever they did, I don't know if this was like the way they did it the whole time. This is the loot reborn system. I don't feel like I had an issue with the way the loot worked. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad that the loot feels good, and I'm really interested in chasing more loot right now, and trying to get more upgrades and all that stuff. Obviously, this game is large, expansive, and it's got a lot to it, so it's not like I'm going to be able to finish it. But to couple that with a great story that I want to follow, that they're actually bringing back within, like they're continuing it with the DLC, that does give me extra incentive to just want to try to continue to play it, even on a casual level versus like hardcore getting here doing multiple characters. But having a character I run through all of the DLC and stuff with now, honestly, I don't like the seasonal aspect of it where they go to the internal realm and now you can't really play with that character. I really don't like that aspect of it. I have to look at it and kind of look at how they do the skip, how many levels you get, what's still unlocked, what's still available. I'm running around now doing all the blood Lilith statues to kind of, because that unlocks for all your characters regardless of if you go to the seasonal or not. So there's a few things that kind of interconnect. I haven't read through it to kind of get the best idea of how to play the game, and I think that that's a good and bad thing. I think that they have shown me enough to make me to have where I can understand enough of it without having to use the internet. But then there's the optimization of it when you want to not waste time and kind of get through the game as quickly or get through things as quickly as possible. I'm not going to go run around the entire map because it's pretty huge and try to find all of the statues when I can go online and find that map and go about that way. So those types of stuff. So for me, Diablo has definitely jumped up on my list in regards to stuff to look out for, but it also has provided a good fun experience that I didn't think I was going to have you just running through the story. I thought I was going to have to wait until after the story to really start having fun with Diablo, but I think that they started off the bat by giving you a good experience overall. So that is good. Outside of the kudos, I really don't have much else to say. I'm looking forward to the I forget what it's called now. I think it's something blood. Hatred or blood hatred or something like that. The new DLC for Diablo is coming out in I think August. I believe it's August. Vessel of Hatred. It's coming out October 8th. So I'm definitely going to, like I said, keep playing it. It's on Game Pass. I really hate how they do it with Blizzard, but I also like it because I can use my Steam Deck for it. But I hate the way you have to like open up Xbox app, then open up Battle.net, and then they have to do a security check, and then they allow you to play it. But if you haven't done that security check in a while, you got to go back to it, and if you can't do it on the Steam Deck, so you have to do it on there. But then I started using my Windows one, and it kind of negated all that issue, but still. It's still annoying to have to go to one launcher to open up another launcher in order to launch a game that's supported in Game Pass. So that's pretty annoying. Maybe you just want to buy it on Steam, but at the same time, free is free. Not technically, but it's free for me. And if I buy if I'm buying just the DLC, I just bought that. I'm just buying one purchase versus two. But we'll see if it gets cheaper I might just switch over to a Steam copy versus kind of going through BattleNet. So we'll see.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm liking it. I think that it's actually not bad. It took a long time because it's just like, you don't have time for certain things, and at this point, when I finished up Elden Ring, or at least to the point where I felt like I've seen a lot, I only have one boss left. I was like, yeah, it's time for me to switch off to something else, at least until we go back with the seamless co-op stuff and just run through stuff if we want to. But for now, I picked up Diablo, and I actually pretty much enjoyed it throughout that campaign. So still looking forward to upgrading and playing it as I can, when I can, of course. So I wanted to give y'all a shout out. So there you go, Diablo. You changed a man from whatever to. Let me check that out. So that's a W in my book. What else? Any thoughts on Diablo before I know Jalen, I know he got it downloaded. He ready to go. He got his I heard he had his droid. He got his droid character all together. And he said he's ready to play. So I'm happy for it. I don't think he's here to defend himself. So he's already has it ready to go.
No, not much to say about Diablo, but it sounds good that the story has gotten better. I've always liked their like cutscenes, but like in Diablo 3, it was only like
Mhm.
after, like in between chapters. Like you finish the chapter, you get like a cutscene, and it
Right.
was kind of just like progressing the story, so you moving from area to area. But if the overall narrative is still engaging and improved, I think that's a strength.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the world is interesting, even though it's like terrible, it's interesting, and then you have characters and you want to see how they actually progress through this world.
Right. No, I think that they have a lot of cool moments and a lot of ways to kind of, it's like a depiction of it, like the world and how messed up stuff can get and how people can try to manipulate it for their advantage. And it's just like a really cool story to watch be played through angels and demons. So it's cool. I like it. Um, but yeah, I think there's a lot more to be talked about, and there's a lot of build up, and it's a lot of open ended at the end that allow for more things to happen. So I'm excited to see what they do. What else? What else? So let's move on to Nintendo. So Nintendo had their big I don't know if it's the last hoorah, because I know they're gonna be announcing that Switch 2 at some point. But they had a pretty nice and decent Nintendo Direct recently where we went over a lot of different games, but the big highlights for us that we're going to be discussing will going to be Mario and Luigi Brothership, and then it's going to be Legend of Zelda and Metroid. Legend of Zelda, it is Echoes of Wisdom. It's now where you get to play with Zelda, and Metroid 4 is Metro Prime 4 Beyond. So let's talk Metroid first. I'm gonna get the let's we're gonna go good or bad first. I don't know.
You can say what you felt about it.
Yeah. Let me start with the bad. The bad is just honestly, I thought it didn't look impressive to me, and that's fine, I guess. But it just didn't. It looked like the trilogy remaster. I thought it was gonna be the trilogy remaster. I didn't think it was gonna be the new Prime. It fell flat in regards to graphics or fidelity or ability to wow on that wow spectrum. I'm not saying the gameplay is going to be bad. I'm not saying that the game ain't going to be good. I'm not saying that none of that. I'm saying that for me, it definitely showed that it was running on Nintendo Switch hardware and not Switch 2. And if there's no indication of Switch 2 or the ability of the features on that, that's fine. But at the same time, I am looking for a spec increase, at least a decent one, from going from 2017 to 2024. I would not want to be running around with just same graphics 1080p. It's kind of crazy. So, I was a little disappointed just in that. just in that in its entirety. I'm not saying that this was even indicative of what the Switch 2 looks like, but I would think that this would be one of those games they want to push the envelope, get some real good, nice fog, new form, like something to show, hey, this is just our next generation. But maybe they're just not ready for that. I don't know. What were your initial reaction when you saw it? I was excited and disappointed at the same time. That was me.
I was surprised to see it because it's one of those games that's been in development a long time. And Metroid Prime 3 came out in like 2011. So it's literally been like 10 years since the last one. And
10
so with
years,
that,
jeez.
yeah, I was kind of disappointed in the trailer. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily overall in the game, but the trailer wasn't very good, I think. It was supposed to be like a surprise, but they didn't show anything, I think, good or new. I mean, not bad. Let me rephrase it. They didn't show anything that me, as a longtime Metroid fan, that I haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, why do I feel like that? And I went back to the trailer for the Metroid Prime remaster, and that trailer is way better. Like, it's showing the different environments.
Mm-hmm.
You see, even though this is a remaster, they're focusing on like the improvements of the graphics, so you can see like this is an improvement. But whereas the Metroid Prime 4 trailer, we're walking through similar environments that you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
We got higher texture quality, but again, like you said, it doesn't look anything that I haven't seen before
Mm-hmm.
for Metroid.
Yeah.
And especially for Metroid Prime Remaster, okay, this is the fourth game, but it looks like the last game y'all just put out,
Yeah.
with just like with a slightly different art style. That being said, I think it's the audience that they're trying to serve is a maybe a difficult one because it has been since 2011. So people want what's familiar. They don't want it to turn into Halo or something like that. So I understand that. So they're going to do something similar. But yeah, at the same time, like you said, maybe it's the limitations of the hardware. I don't know. I think they could still do a lot of cool stuff on the Switch. Maybe not graphically, but the size of the world or whatever they're doing. But I will say, at least, I don't think the trailer was very good, especially because
Yeah.
like I love Metroid. It's my favorite franchise, and I like Metroid music as well. And the song that's in the trailer is an old song, but it sounds like a boring remix, and it's kind of like it's slowed down. It's like, why y'all doing that? Like, the music doesn't change. There's no beat drop. There's no any vocals or anything. So it's like the music that you picked for this trailer is also kind of boring. So I don't know. Maybe the game is not fully ready, or they worry about showing too much right now because it doesn't come out until next year anyways. So I don't know, but at least it exists. It looks decent, I think. But yeah, I was a little disappointed in it.
Yeah. I'm glad it exists. You're right. I think that's one of the key takeaways is that it's in the works. They showed off a little bit of the world, so they have a concept, they have a name, official name now. So there's progress being made. Are we overselling how popular Metroid is in their franchises? Like, do they care?
Well, I think Metroid has always been a cult thing, and I think for a long time Nintendo didn't care, and that's a problem because, well, the old 2D Metroid games they're popular, people like them or whatever, but those are the older games like the NES.
Yep.
With Metroid Prime, it was like their graphical, like, this is our Western studio. They're gonna push the GameCube graphics. It looks technically better than Halo, even though the world is not as big, but it looks better than Halo 1. But Nintendo doesn't care about graphics. They don't care about first-person shooters. So they really didn't invest in Metroid. And obviously Zelda and stuff sells better, so they just put all their effort on Zelda. So yeah, Metroid is like a third place franchise for Nintendo, maybe. But I think there's been so much, how to put it, they don't have that type of IP, and this is their only one. And so if they don't treat it well, then it kind of would just be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but Microsoft has Halo. Now PlayStation has Destiny. Like there's a big like FPS or like sci-fi genre that a lot of people like
Yeah.
that Nintendo doesn't cater to, and Metroid has all of the ingredients to be one of those franchises like Doom, but it's with Nintendo, and Nintendo doesn't care about that type of stuff. So I don't know. And it's being made by Retro Studios, and they did the Donkey Kong Country games, but before that, they were only doing Metroid. And so I think if it wasn't for the people working at Retro, then maybe this game would never like come out.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like it wasn't like that. Yeah, they had one more thing. This is okay to be one of our show enders, but this isn't our focus, and that's fine. I think Echoes of Wisdom, Mario, and Luigi, and a few other things that were shown were pretty much their big bread and butter. I think this is one of those things where it's nostalgic. People will get people talking online, but it is not one of their prime. And I could tell that based on the trailer. That's what I felt like. I was like, huh? Why does it feel like it's not as cinematic as I would think? Like if you've seen The Legend of Zelda, like those two, like come on. Like when you saw those trailer reveals, they looked like they put some effort into it. They had voice acting. They had
Zelda,
like, cinematic
they
cuts.
showed that game off. Yeah, a whole bunch of trailers for multiple years.
Yeah.
And even Mario Odyssey, which came out like a couple months after they revealed it, they also, did a whole blowout for that type thing where we're going to show you a tease, but we're building up because we know you're excited for this.
Yeah.
I feel like
I feel like this was more
I don't know.
3S.
I know Nintendo Japan doesn't necessarily care about Metroid. So yeah, it's not going to get that same level of love that
it definitely feels like Bayonetta. It feels like the way they treated Bayonetta, which is fine. I mean, not fine, but it's like it feels like that's the level of concern they provided. And I don't know, maybe it's just the way they do business over there, because even franchises that I feel like have enough money, Pokemon per se, their trailers look like crap to me, and they never really showcase. When the game come out, it doesn't sit well with me most of the time. Pokemon Snap was different because that's Pokemon Snap. I feel like they did a really good job with just recreating that. But there's a lot of they boast a lot of the nostalgia versus truly innovation on certain things. Like I have never seen a company be so up and down when it comes to that than Nintendo. Like they innovate a lot when it comes to their franchises and like changing up things, but they're at the same time there's like a box that certain things are held in regards to just focus, money, and value. To me, like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter how well something may have been or done. I think they're still stuck in that same realm of you're a third tier. Just keep it that way. So I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought process on how I see it. I think Splatoon shot up to be one of their more bigger franchises. I think they do a lot of stuff for that game, versus the value of how much money it actually brings in. Maybe it is one of those bigger sellers in Japan. I know we talked about stats on that game a lot in regards to how big it is in Japan and stuff like that. But there is like a level or tier that certain games have to hit before they get that true value behind them that I see that they can do. So that's my thought when I saw it. I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel like it's really being backed as much as we want it to be and being pushed as much as we want it to be. Maybe the gameplay is still solid. That's fine. But it's not being like pushed in that way that makes us super excited to get our hands on it. It just makes it feel like, yeah, it's going to be another great entry into the Metroid Prime series. So that's
for me, as somebody who's been looking forward to Metroid Prime 4, it's disappointing because I don't see any excitement or innovation in the trailer. Maybe they have a lot of cool ideas, but they didn't show that in the trailer. We're just walking down the linear hallway that looks very similar to what we did in the previous games. You bringing back enemies from the previous games. Okay, that's cool to continue their story, but it doesn't feel like, this game has been gone for 13 years, so now let's show we understand that it's been a long time and we're really putting our effort into bringing it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, who knows? Maybe the game would be great.
Yeah.
At least what I want to see from their next trailer is that if you're not pushing the graphical presentation that much, because obviously the hardware has limitations, it looks good, but it looks familiar. Do something with the world. Like Metroid always has linear hallways and some bigger environments, but like I'm not saying it has to be open world or anything like that, but like do something bigger with the world where that makes exploring feel
engaging.
Do something to innovate the exploration. Yeah. Because Metroid is very similar to like Souls games where you take a lot of elevators, you open up shortcuts, you find keys and open up doors. But now the Souls games have like really pushed the envelope as far as exploration with how they do that. So I want to see, show that in your trailers, how you're evolving Metroid, where it's not just Metroid Prime 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing from it. So I'm glad that they showed it off for sure, though. Biggest highlight for me, not unfortunately, but honestly, I was like, I will play this. Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Top down is not usually my cup of tea, but when it started doing all that creative break the game stuff that I like, in like in Zelda, where you can like build on top of stuff, take and erase things in the world, and then kind of recreate it elsewhere to solve puzzles. I feel like there's a very unique and fun exploration aspect of that, of being able to create and take certain things that you may have found in the world and use them elsewhere to be overcome challenges and things like that. And they show some very unique and cool things just in the trailer alone. That is what I wanted to see in Metroid, but that is what I was like, wow, I don't really care that this game looks, like what it looks like, because I really dig this gameplay. I really dig the way it looks. I actually do like the way it looks, but I dig the way it plays, and I did like the calmness of it. Like what she's trying to do, Zelda being in predicament to save Link. I thought that was really cool. So concept, gameplay, mesh to me, and I felt like I was like very interested in just trying it out, seeing how that goes. Because yeah, I love the Zelda series, open world series, but then I am intrigued by just being able to have like more of a. It just felt like it reminded me of Treasure Tracker for some reason, but obviously Treasure Tracker is a little different. But there's like this non-fighting NPC or playable character, so not NPC, but playable character that you have to navigate the world through with using wit and creativity. So I really like that part of it, and that's why I like the Treasure Tracker so much too. So I definitely was one of my highlights. So any thoughts on Echoes of Wisdom when you initially saw it, good or bad?
Yeah, I think the concept of playing as Zelda is cool, and using her magic to create different things. I grew up playing the like 2D Zelda games where they have a lot of puzzles inside the dungeons, and sometimes you might have an item that you got to bring across the dungeon to open up a door or something like that. So yeah, this is giving the same vibes. You very creative, a lot of secrets, and it's going to be fun to figure it out. I Unfortunately, I don't like the art style. I didn't like the Link to the Past, Link's Awakening remake that they did a couple years ago on the Switch, and this one as well, where it doesn't perform well, it doesn't look graphically impressive, and the art style for Zelda is kind of boring. Because like even the old 2D games where they're sprites, like the sprites look interesting, or you do some of the like if you even just Google the GameCube Four Swords, like those are 2D games, and those look very fun and expressive and cartoony.
Right.
Where this kind of looks very boring. I don't know why they chose this style, but they're sticking with it. So that being said, I think the game will be fun. I'll definitely try it out. I was just disappointed in like how it looks, and it doesn't even have to be a full 3D game. It's just this art style is kind of boring for a Zelda game when
Right.
Zelda has had so many good looking games.
Hmm. No, that makes sense. And I'm looking at Four Swords right now. I do see what you mean about the difference in art style and how them having those bland eyes where they just dots and it's like more toonish, but also what's they call it? Those pop figures, basically.
Yeah, they look
Uh,
like Funko Pops,
yeah,
and that's kind of I don't, I don't know. I mean, you buy the Funko Pop because it's cheap and it's a reference to what you like, but they don't look good. They're like cheap.
hmm,
So the game looks cheap, unfortunately.
right. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I like the world. I do not like the characters, as you stated. I like the world the way it's kind of created with the
Oh yeah,
actual
the
physical characters of themselves. Nah, not digging it. Um, but yeah, that totally makes sense. And that was one of those things where I didn't like that one as well, simply due to that too. I started to realize that once Jalen brought it up all the time about character design and how kind of it can pull you out of a game. It can pull you out of a game very quickly. So I do appreciate good art styles now. Regardless of anything else, I think a good art style could kind of help if a game is struggling in other areas. Which brings me to another game. But actually, let me slow my roll. We're not done with Mario. We're not done with the Nintendo brand. Mario and Luigi Brothership. I had no idea this was an RPG. Jalen told me that. Did you ever play any of the old previous Mario Luigi Brotherships? Because if so, I'll let you talk about this. If not, we're gonna I don't know. But have you played any of the old ones?
uh no, unfortunately, the Mario like RPG type games I've never really been into, but I know that the Mario and Luigi games were kind of the good versions of those games
Right.
because not good, but how to put it, there's Paper Mario, which was good, but then Nintendo got very lazy with them, and then people really got upset with how they make them. And so whenever we talk to Jalen about Paper Mario, he would be like, uh, disappointed in the newest one because it was like a lazy effort.
Hmm.
Whereas like the Mario and Luigi games, they were kind of like DS games where it's still RPG based, but you do a little bit of exploration and you use the two screens to do different things. So it was very popular from what I remember, but I never played the Mario Luigi games. But at least with this one, it seems to be a good return to form. I like the art style for this one. It's Mario, but the characters' animations seem very expressive and
Hmm.
not like super basic like the Zelda game. Uh, you do the platforming, and then you're gonna have team combat with Luigi. So I think that would be very cool.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I never really thought about the Mario's like any of their RPG games. Like I was playing a little bit of Thousand Year Door, which I thought was cool and was intriguing, but honestly, those types of games just never really was like, oh, something I needed to play or wanted to play, because I was never into big RPGs, and Mario was always supposed to be interactive, fun, and jumping around. He wasn't supposed to be sitting there just pressing buttons and letting them do something on screen. That's insane, Mario. So, I always thought it was like, no, I just play the ones that actually have some type of platforming, movement, blah blah blah. This seemed like a nice little in between, I guess. Um, so it could be something that I might have some interest in, and at some point may be able to pick up and try out. But it is one of those things where it's probably best to be played with someone else. Honestly, I don't really feel like this is one of those games that I'd be interested in playing alone. And They don't have the infrastructure for that type of stuff. So what I would think for this game is probably check out some of the reviews, check out some of the thoughts around it, playing it single or solo, and if it's something later down the line that I pick up to play with someone in the house, whether that to be the kids or my wife, that'd probably be the best bet to do it versus really trying to force myself to play it, even though I'm not really too intrigued in the Mario and Luigi um, game line at all. So I'll check it out. I see what I think, see what I see on the reviews, and if anything clicks that makes me want to say, hey, we should pick this up, play it with others, I think that would be the best bet. Because I'm assuming these are local co-op, correct?
I don't know. I think some of the other games might have had some sort of co-op element to it, but you never know with the Switch because they might do local or online. But I think this is a good time to do it. With well, let me rephrase it. A lot of Nintendo games have like a unofficial co-op mode, where it's like you play as Mario and then somebody else control like a star or something like that. So I think it definitely the second controller will do something.
So
But it would be nice if the whole game is built for if you got two kids, they can play together.
Yeah, they
Or
said that
dad and kid or something like that.
They said that this is normally a one player. I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's fine. They said a normally one player game though. That's like highly unlikely for them to switch up the formula for this. But they said that there was some aspect, as you stated, like a star, where you can like control it at some point, but nothing like major. Which I think that would be a cool concept to have. Like, I like the snipper clips or something like that on the Switch, because it was just like this 2-player co-op, local co-op stuff. But I would think, maybe I'm tripping, but I would think that would be a missed opportunity. But actually, it doesn't matter because all the Super Mario Brother games outside of this one probably have some type of co-op, where Mario 3D World, where it's Super Mario Bros. All the other ones probably have some type of co-op. So like this one's gonna be one player only, and that's fine because it doesn't need to be. So that's okay. That does definitely take it off my list, but I mean, at some point I can check it out and see if there's some real interest in playing through that, regardless of the multiplayer component or not. So I definitely keep it on my radar. Next topic: Deadrising Deluxe Remaster. I really don't understand this one. I really think they should just did a remake. But they called it a remaster instead because they said they wanted to keep people understand that game is not being changed in any significant way outside of graphical overhaul and some fine tuning of some of the complaints, but the gameplay of it is going to be intact. Can I say one negative thing? I don't like how Frank looks, but everything else looks smooth. Everything else look cool. I don't think this game needed to be graphically overhauled, to be honest with you. I think this game was great. I can literally go play Dead Rising right now and still have a lot of fun. Maybe having more enemies or something like that, but overhauling the graphics, it kind of pushes it into that realm of Dead Rising 4, which I don't want to think about Dead Rising 4. So, I'm cool with it. I'm liking that they doing it. I want to see if there's like any. I like that they have like shown off some of the main crazies, or psychos that you're going to be taking on. Like the clown, Killer Clown was crazy when I first fought him. I think there's a lot of just fun I remember from nostalgia wise of just playing this game. So I'm happy that they're doing something to continue the franchise, because I definitely didn't want it to die with Dead Rising 4. So I'm glad that Capcom is doing something. I just don't know if it was a remaster that really was needed. So I don't know. I mean, coming down the pipe, I think they just got a lot of value out of Resident Evil being remade. But I think those were really good remakes. This doesn't feel like it's going to be on that level. So I think they got the B team for this one. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I watched the whole thing and I was like, okay, I see you. But you know, I really want that to be a true value add for them, is that this is going to be in the repertoire, that they're going to be able to build off of it. I don't want it to flop. I don't want people to be like, we'd rather play the first one. So when you do it, when you commit to a remake, that gives people incentive to try it, because they like, okay, this is something different. Or you're doing a little twist on it, versus a full-fledged remaster. It gives me a lack of like wanting to try it. Graphics doesn't really help, because this was all based gameplay. Like, I didn't care what the graphics looked like. The gameplay is what sold me. Running around with nothing but chainsaws, finally getting a pistol or a shotgun, going crazy, being chased outside by those crazy mow down enemies. I think that this is just, running around with the shopping cart. Like, all the physics and everything, they just kept the same. So I get not wanting to break stuff, and I also get wanting to, but I value the Dead Rising 1 version so much that I just go play that one if I really didn't want the remake. So this remaster doesn't really help me per se. I own those games. I can play them whenever I want. This doesn't help me. But to introduce new people to Frank West, in order for them to green light a new game, maybe this is what they needed to do. So I'm cool with that. But it did not get me as excited as I wanted to be. When I initially saw the trailer teaser and I saw what they actually were doing, did not become as excited as I wanted to. So, did you ever play Dead Rising or engage with these crazy, wacky zombie games at all?
No, I never actually played Dead Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think I probably would enjoy it a lot, because there've been a few games that have like a time-based mechanic where you got 4 or 5 days to do something.
Yeah.
And play through it again and like try to do it better. I do like those type of games, but I think when I was younger, I wasn't interested in zombies, or Resident Evil,
Mm-hmm.
so I never picked up Dead Rising. But I think Dead Rising 1 and 2, I do want to play at some point. But yeah,
Right.
like you said about this remaster, it doesn't look that exciting as a project. This is definitely a B team project where we need the interns to stretch their legs so they can work on the next game. Maybe they are planning something new for Dead Rising, because I think it should be an easy franchise to keep making games, but I think they keep struggling with ideas, trying to
Yes.
like turn it into like Resident Evil or something
Yeah.
else. In which it could just be a smaller game. Just put it in any mall in the world and just have
Yes.
you beat up zombies.
You can do the Mall of America. You can do any type of large location with like an airport. You could do plenty of these
Yeah,
places that,
it should just be Zombieland, the video game, which
yeah.
is kind of what people want. Like,
Yeah.
just have it fun, some interesting characters, and it's different enough from the first person like zombie games that
Yeah.
you can give them like Resident Evil weapons and Devil May Cry weapons and just do crazy stuff. So yeah, so far this doesn't seem that exciting, but
Yeah. I'm looking forward to what comes next. That's what I'll say.
mhm.
I think that this is a uh wait. I just read something. A pre-order bonus would let you change his look. Huh?
Is it the old Frank?
Uh I guess so. You pre-order Dead Rising and you get the previous old look. of what he looked like previously. Wow, that's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people. It says, so you ruined the model for the new game and you're charging people extra to revert it back to the original. Not surprised. The comments be so funny. But yeah. So that's basically what they're doing. That's what it feels like anyway. Because that model is not great. But I'm hoping that they do enough right in this one to keep the franchise going because I don't want this to be berated as a disappointment, a flop, and now we don't have nothing coming from Dead Rising for a while. So, but if they making bad decisions, it's just bad decisions. You can't really fight that, I guess. So, anyways, don't ruin my franchise. I really loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I really like the whole timing aspect of it. And I think as long as you can find another avenue to kind of go back to that, I think we win. But trying to make Frank serious, come on now. I don't know why I did that. Anyways, moving on. Any last things on that before we move on?
Nope. I mean, the only other stuff from the Capcom shows that they are working on a new Resident Evil game. And they said Resident Evil 7 was a turning point for the company, and they want Resident Evil 9 to be as big of a impact on the company as 7. So I don't know if that means they're going to be first person, but I think that's probably what they would continue with, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Well, moving on next. I don't know if you've seen it, but Warframe got some competition now. It's called First Descendant, and honestly, to me, it looks pretty boring. But all these games now look boring to me. I was hoping that somebody on this Steam panel has looked at this game enough to give an honest opinion. Honestly, my opinion on it is that it's my opinion on it is that I am over this type of game, and it can't get any better for me. Whatever you do, I think it's going to be difficult for me to be engaged. That being said, the production on the cutscenes or the trailers looks fantastic. I don't know how well that correlates with the gameplay, but those cutscenes, though, they look great. So hopefully somebody on this Steam panel of me and you have seen a little bit more of this. What have you or have you not?
Yeah, I saw some stuff about it. I saw they showed it off, I think, at a Sony event some time ago, and I thought it looked pretty generic. And then I saw people talking about it this week. I guess it came out, or like it had a beta or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the only stuff I've seen has been negative about the game not working, like servers crashing and not being able to log in. And the other stuff is just, it's the what was that game? Stellar Blade. It's the Stellar Blade looking characters that you can make with the camera on the ground looking upward behind the lady.
Oh wow. Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I think it's definitely in the same realm as like a Warframe, as like a single player. Well, not PvE focused shooter, third person shooter, is sci-fi based. Unfortunately, I don't think I've seen anything in the gameplay that's very interesting to me. It's pretty generic third person shooting. And Warframe is that too, but Warframe has kind of built his own style with like the abilities and doing like ninja stuff. Whereas this is very, very basic third person shooting type gameplay. So I don't know. I think it's unfortunately too early for me to say whether the game is good or not. I think they got to fix like their issues. Maybe it's a game that in 2 years or something, after a couple patches and expansions. I might check it out, but for me right now, I don't think it looks any good.
Yeah, I'm not in the business of just crapping on something because it's popular. I think that give it time. I'm just not I'm not the guy anymore, and I definitely don't want to just say, oh, because I'm not that guy anymore, that these games aren't meant to be made anymore. They're made for a reason. People and play them. I did think that the cutscenes itself, or like the trailers and everything, they look like they have some character to the gameplay, or at least a character to the actual players, or how they look and things like that. But honestly, it's just a bunch of sizzle reels and like action, but not real like story or what you're going to be doing or what it means to be in this world. So that
Yeah, the
is
actual
what.
missions just look more like exoprimal to me.
Ah, yeah.
Where the mission is, you run it through some ruins and you shooting at some drones, and then some dudes with guns jump out and you shoot at them. It's not, the levels don't feel how to put it, well designed. Like you go to Elden Ring and you're in a giant castle and it feels like we spent a whole lot of time for this, whereas this game kind of just feels like a couple hallways just thrown together.
Right.
Mhm.
No. I get you. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I think we have to have a little bit more time with it. I'm gonna actually download it and try to get some more details on everything, so we can have a conversation around it. But yeah.
It, I know we got other topics, but I was going to ask about one because this game is coming out like probably now in like 30 minutes. Have you
Oh.
seen a trailer for Zenless Zone Zero? That's the new game from the Genshin Impact people.
Oh yeah,
Their games
yeah.
always do good. Zenless Zone Zero comes out on July 4th. And I think like literally I saw a timer somewhere. It comes out very soon. But that
Oh.
one looks very good. Like it's an animated art style, but the animation quality is very high. And it's like a cyberpunk world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a action game. So it's not like a turn-based RPG. It's more action, sort of like a Devil May Cry where you can be doing dodges, or like a Bayonetta. So I'm interested into checking it out because I like those style of games. And I liked, what was that Nintendo game? Astral Chain. But this seems like a much higher budget style game because Genshin Impact makes $1 billion a second. So yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That comes out very soon. I think on PlayStation, PC, and mobile. I might try it on PC, but I think it's like 100 gigabytes or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it comes out at for 10 a.m. for you guys, but it says 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for us on
Okay.
tomorrow. I don't know if
Uh,
that's like
is it?
it's supposed to be a global release or if it's like not, because
I think it's supposed to be a global release, but I don't know how they're doing like the server launch time or something. But on the Reddit at least, I saw a timer that said I can check it right now actually.
okay.
Uh, yeah, within the next 2-3 hours. So, anyways, if you was downloading something else, I think you can preload it now. So, whenever it comes out, you can try it.
Gotcha. Uh-oh, that was not good. So yeah, that is another one of those ones that I guess I could kind of check out too. But there is a lot of free to play games to try to get you in with a good hook at the beginning. But you got to give these games some time to kind of show their true colors and show what they truly are about. And trying to understand and value it. I saw a lot of flack online about Helldivers 2 losing a lot of players, but honestly, they made their money. They don't really need your guys to play no more. The servers cost them more than to keep you guys playing than to not. But I understand them having a value of the live service aspect of it, but they made a lot of money. I really don't see the um because a lot of people aren't playing no more yet because other games came out. I think that's a difference in opinion versus how someone has to show their live player count daily on a free to play game, that you have to run that business based off of those free to play players buying things. There's a difference when you have to pay to get in. And I don't think people understand that. So weird, but honestly, I think Helldivers 2 is a
it's still
great game.
successful, even if it's not like
Yeah.
a billion people playing like it was.
Yeah.
Same thing with what was that? Pal World. Pal World was breaking records, and now people say that it fell off. And it's like, no, they made a whole bunch of money. There's still a whole bunch of people playing it, and it might have a big uptick later in the future. But that type of success in the beginning, it kind of like will set your studio up for the next generation. So it don't matter.
Doesn't matter. And I honestly, them being able to open up servers and close down some servers based off a load, that's value to them. It kind of gets money back in their pocket. It's really a way to kind of continue to evaluate your player base and understand that they had a large success at the beginning, and luckily they were able to fulfill that success. But now, now that it's time to get into the weeds and understand what made it so fun and enjoyable, and kind of recreate that in a different way. So I think that is key to a lot of developers on how they want to present themselves in the game, and to players. So yeah, I really don't get the whole flag about that, but that's for another day. Let's talk about another one of these games. It's not another one of these games. This game been out for forever. But Destiny 2. The Final Shape. Honestly, it came out to really good reviews. I was not expecting that. So I have to come back in here, and I have to say that Destiny 2 surprised me in 2024. I'm gonna say something at the very, very end, but this is not to belittle what they have done and accomplished. They were able to present a story that people felt meaning and had value. People felt like the wrap up was really, really good to a saga of 10 years. People felt like the content that they provided was really good. They're outside of a few hiccups with getting people on the game early on and for the first couple of days, because there's just a lot of people trying to play. I think that it's about time they understood the value of how long and how many people are going to be playing their games. But I digress. They probably undervalued it again, and that caused a lot of strain there. But to be able to pull that off and have people that are diehard fans actually enjoy what you sent at the end, that's really good. I feel like they did a good job with there. I think the cutscenes that they said, they felt like the quality of the cutscenes. I was just watching a few people talk about it. Astacross was one of them, but he was really happy and enjoyed the story, the way that they presented the characters and their approach to storytelling, some of the missions and variety there. And also the new mechanics and the new super class, I forget what they call them now. The subclass, that's what it is. The new subclass and everything along those lines. I think they even had some pretty enjoyable moments with some of the new weapons. But yeah, that's a lot to overcome, because honestly, I thought it was going to be reskin stuff. I thought it was going to be more so just adding things back that people already enjoy, which it is a lot in there, but there's a lot of new too. And that's a value, especially when you've been working with a set of rules and a structure for so long, that you can still surprise your player base. You can still give them something new, and people can enjoy it. And I know Jalen made a joke about flying enemies, but that was one of the highlights for them too, is that they had a new enemy type to fight, and that it was a different, and they were aggressive, and it made you think differently on how you fight. So kudos to them. I'm gonna give them a nice little clap and everything, because that is really hard to do. And honestly, I didn't think they was gonna pull it off. I thought that it was going to fall flat, and that this was going to be a pretty big problem for them. I don't follow in those circles, so this is going to be a really small detail. and that you could take it as much or as little as you like, because I think take it with a grain of salt for sure. It kind of came and went. I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt like it was I don't move in these circles, but to me, when these games and these big expansions come out, there's a lot of focus on them for a little bit, and there's a lot of time and engagement in regards to the raid and everything like that. I feel like that raid came, and I think everything else kind of just started to. It started to like. I think a lot of other games came out, and maybe that took away from the shine of that, word of mouth and being able to get people out there excited again for Destiny. But I felt like it had a 2 week window to get it done, and I don't think it got it done to the point where it's going to have a successful outing later. I could be wrong. I'm just telling you from my level of FOMO, it is usually like you see something a lot, it makes you want to buy, right? And Destiny has been very good at that for Witch Queen and Lightfall. For this one, I felt like it did not work, and maybe that's because of Elden Ring. What do you think, Josh? When you think of Destiny, did you see a lot of it, or did you see a lot of talk around Destiny, or it may be good or bad? What were you seeing?
I didn't see anything about the story or like the main like content that they added for the expansion. Unfortunately, like I don't know if there's new abilities. I saw some like purple mist or something that people were throwing. So I don't know anything about what they added there, but I saw that people talking about the exotics. I guess there are a couple weapons like swords and things that they got that they liked. And I saw a lot of like controversy around like trying to beat the raid first and how a lot of teams were acting and what they were doing online. But overall, I think the impression of it was positive, but definitely less um, conversation overall about Destiny. I feel like
Mm.
I didn't see as many. Uh, I didn't see as much conversation as I used to see in the past about Destiny.
Yeah, I
Just
think.
people beat the raid, they're trying to beat it world first, then
Mm.
say some cool stuff that they enjoyed it, and then after the world first, I think was beaten, I didn't see anything about the expansion again.
Yeah, I think they shot themselves in the foot coming right out on the heels of that Xbox showcase that was really good. Maybe they thought it was gonna be bad, but I think all of this media shifted from Destiny to everything else, and I think it just got buried. And I think I'm like, is that a testament to how Sony running things over there, or is it like just bad luck? That's what I was really trying to think, because I was like, what changed? What was different this time around? Because I felt like they had the success of people talking about it. They had the success of it being good. They had the success of having value to the game and having a good, decent raid. People really enjoyed, and they had a good raid showing. And that was all after June 9th. But from June 4th, when they launched, to like maybe the 12th, I was like, I ain't hear nothing else about it. I mean, we was too focused on everything else that was happening. So I feel like that was just bad timing. No game came out, and well, technically, you were trying to get out the way of Elden Ring, but you were launching yourself right into the midst of media showdown with everything else around you. So um, I don't know. Maybe that really took a toll on it, or from a perspective of that. But maybe it did still sell well, and I'm hoping that, because I don't want Bungie. Like I said, I always never wanted Bungie to go away. I wanted Bungie to change their perspective on what is the value of a game, and not like I want them to go back to their Halo days versus what they're doing now. I'm not saying that what they're doing now is bad. I'm saying it's not for me anymore. And I'm just looking for something of value from them again, that really got me into Destiny in the beginning and made me enjoy Reach and what other the few Halos I played through that were from their camp. So that's what I'm looking forward to from them. But having success is great, but having timing is much better. And I don't think they had the timing for this one. So that's just my
Yeah, and
thought.
they had to delay it at some point.
Yeah.
this year. And yeah, I don't have the stats. It could be very successful, but yeah, with the just the zeitgeist with people talking about Destiny in the beginning, that kind of gives a lot of games legs to continue
Yeah.
to get people going in. If it comes out very short, for example, like Shin Megami Tensei, like I
Mhm.
don't know how successful that game was, Shin Megami Tensei 5, but it also came out to a very short window where people talking about it and then it went away. Which, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, but when you have games like Elden Ring that people are talking about it for 3, 5, 6 months, that's
Mhm.
why it continues to grow and grow and grow and be number one on the charts. Every game can't do that, obviously, but I think that Bungie is, you know, based on their financial report that we talked about a couple months ago, they're kind of in a situation where they kind of need growth
Yes.
continuously, and it's dangerous when they're in that situation because even a good game is not good enough because it has to be an amazing game,
Yeah.
amazing sales. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where it's worrying me. It's not the fact that it wasn't good, and I'm really glad that it was good. That they don't have a product to sell. I'm saying that nobody knows about it. So that's a problem. So that's what I'm worried about, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that they do have enough in the tank to keep pushing. Because um, I may be done with the Destiny story, but I'm not done with the Bungie story. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. Um, and it is one of those things where I will absolutely pay $20 to run through that story at some point later down the line, because I've played enough to know exactly where we left off, because there's not that much to know, and maybe that will provide me a sense of completion for the Destiny saga. So, you know, at some point maybe, but it's on my radar simply because I was a Destiny fan before. It's not because it's good, you know. So, anywho's, let's move on. I don't want to say it's disappointment, but if you don't like Destiny's 2's other portion, maybe you just like the multiplayer. Boy, do I got a game for you. I think Sony thought the same thing. So, we have been getting a lot of early access footage, gameplay of Concord. And everybody, all the headlines are saying a mix of Destiny and Overwatch. A mix of Destiny and
Mhm.
Overwatch. A mix of Destiny and Overwatch. And I'm just like, I could have told you that based off that footage I saw, because everybody knows those animations. But secondly, of course, with these tank classes, sneak classes, attack types, health, and support is bound to get the Overwatch. But that Destiny is purely off animations, style of game, and the way that they animate or animate their dodges, their movement, all of it.
The maps too.
Yeah, maps too, cylinder, high ceilings, no ceiling types maps where you have these very open arenas, where you have a lot of verticality. It's a lot of telltale signs of a Destiny map. So what will it take to get you, Josh, to play Concord?
Unfortunately, it would have to be free to play, which I don't think
That's
it
what I
is.
thought. I was thinking the same, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it because it's competing with Valorant, Overwatch, and even Destiny, like all these type of games that are kind of oversaturated, that are a lot of them are free, a lot of them are good, but the game ha- I don't know how to explain it. Like it doesn't have anything grounding me to the main experience, and then I
Mm-hmm.
play the multiplayer to get extra out of it. Like Destiny, at least there's the main story, the campaign, growing your character. There's something to tie you there. When you're strictly multiplayer, it I don't know how to capture everybody. You just have to like just um, capture your player base early, get people excited. This is the best game out right now. That's the feeling that they have, and they just keep playing it. And as long as the game is functional, then they'll stay generally. But when you're in a space that's very competitive and you have a lot of games that are very similar and you're asking probably full price, that's not really a good look because if Deontay buys it and me and Jalen are on the fence, we might not ever buy it. And so that's going to be a lot of people's situation. And just the player base is going to die off in that sense. So they need to be able to support people just, I want to download it and try it out because I see people talking about it all the time. And I just need to see what it's about. So I'm 10 times more likely to try the Marvel game just because it's free. Even if I don't like it. Like I looked at the trailers. I don't know if that type of gameplay is for me, but it's free. Why not try it out? Whereas Concord, I like Destiny gameplay. I like Destiny maps. It looks fun. Like I see people doing Titan smashes and hunter dodges and stuff. Looks fun. I ain't spending $70 on that.
Exactly. No, it really is one of those things where the value of the game has to be shown, and it can't be shown through a paywall. And there is no interesting thing to keep me grounded in the gameplay or keep me invested. There is the value add of them having some type of cutscenes and having stories, but all these characters look like generic things that were built out in a, I'm gonna be honest, in this looks like a board meeting concept that they wanted, and the creativity behind it looks very lacking.
Yeah, I don't think the characters look bad, but they definitely don't feel. I don't know how to explain it, but there's some games like let's say Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they have a whole department of 1,000 people that are just we want to find the perfect characters that are going to maximize the fan bases. Like we need to show off this one trailer and we're gonna get 1 million people talking about it. Whereas I feel like the characters in this are just kind of designed to have variety. Like we have, real actors. We're gonna hire a bunch of people and put them on the screen. Maybe people might pick somebody that they like, but I feel like there's a difference when you see games like Fortnite and Genshin Impact that have the power where we can just show you one character and the timeline is gonna blow up.
Right.
Versus this, where it's like I don't think any character is a standout.
No,
and maybe their playstyle is, but the character design is not. And people are going to be buying cosmetics for your character, but if they're not in love with the character, then they're not going to buy the cosmetics. And yeah, I don't know. The other thing I was going to point out that I just thought of, which is crazy because it's also from Sony. Why would I play Concord or pay to play Concord when I can just play Destiny for free?
Yeah. Destiny is legitimately free. You can play that game's multiplayer for free and use the basic guns and still have a great time. There is nothing stopping you from doing that. And that is literally my thought when I play Destiny. I'm like, I'm just playing it for the gameplay, and it's fun to run around with the best new broken thing, but most of the time, Blue Devil is gonna still work, right? Your last word is still gonna be okay. That little rifle that you had that shoots 4 bullets is gonna be fine. And for long range engagements, that might have a little advantage, but as long as you play it right, you good. And you can continue to build off on those skills. Like you don't need the best and greatest to kind of win. I never had to have it, to be honest. It was always just a good thing to have. But yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, Josh, I think that this is a surefire. It's a loser. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like it's a loser. I really hope it's not $70. No, it's not. It's $40.
It's $40. Okay.
That
I mean,
might
it's
help.
better, but still, it's a without an easy way to just try it. That I mean, maybe they can do something like free weekends or free betas and do that pretty often, but that is gonna make the game. It's gonna make or break the game because you need people to try it and fall in love with it. And spending $40 upfront on a multiplayer game is probably not gonna be it.
No, it's not. There's so much more out there that's enjoyable that people can really have fun with, that this isn't going to be the one that truly takes it over the edge. And I'm really surprised that, they're banking all their eggs and baskets, and they're putting all their eggs in this multiplayer basket because they're known for high quality single player games. I would have thought they would have launched a new franchise or a new IP of single player. Like, I know they cost a lot, and if it fails, it fails. But for the level of creativeness over there and design and like writers, I think they couldn't possibly fail to use the same formula they always use. How do you fail? Um, I think there's just too much money behind it at that point for it to fail. But Concord, oh, absolutely. This is not going to be another Helldivers. I can tell you that. I think that was a different experience. It was beloved, and the developers knew their audience. I don't think they even understand the audience, nor is the audience ready for this game. So that is my concern. I think that Concord is going to be one of those games that's overlooked. It might have some good fundamentals, and it might be enjoyable, but it's going to be overlooked due to the price and just not people at the in the level of, the level of the board, the board level. I mean, the board itself is overcrowded. I think that's going to be his biggest problem. But that's pretty much it. I didn't want to crap on it, honestly, because we haven't played it. I like Destiny gameplay. If I can get that alone and have a great progression system, that's cool. I don't know if I'm willing to spend $40 to do it. Yet. I have to see a
Yeah,
lot more. It has to really turn a new leaf in regards to really showing me the value of why this is a special game. So I have not seen that yet.
yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't even know they had an open beta. I missed all these videos. I'm reading about it now to catch up, and it's unfortunate. I think the game looks good. They definitely spent a lot of money on it, and like I said last time, it being a similar game to Destiny, is its strongest point because I like Destiny gameplay, but I don't want to get invested in Destiny.
Hmm.
That being said, I'm already invested in Destiny at some point, so I can go back to my old inventory. And Destiny is free, so if I just want to shoot stuff, I can do that. Whereas Concord, I feel like they really need to do a better job of selling this product so people feel excited about jumping in on day one. Because right now, I haven't seen anything versus anything that they're showing other than like it's like Destiny, and I think that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think the game comes out soon. I don't know if they give a release date, but they need to really ramp it up as far as the marketing to sell the package. What are you getting for $40, and why should people care?
Mm. Yep. No, I agree. Um, I think that is the key. So I
Because I
think they
think,
have a beta on July
unfortunately,
11th, something like that.
July 11th. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, because I was looking for the trailers, and there's nothing on Sony's YouTube about the game. I had to go to like IGN.
Wow. Yeah, so it's going to be a interesting ride. I feel like what we need to do now is just see if we can. I mean, what I will do, I gotta put that on my list again because there's just another one. So not only am I getting the Zenless one, it's the First Descendants, and then I have to sign up for Concord. I gotta pre-order it beta, so I can have some thoughts around this stuff. But yeah, And I think that's pretty much I think we said it all. I think that's good. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Outside of that, I think the last thing that we were going to discuss was I think we got to everything outside of it. Was it Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. I think that was it. I don't really.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts came out on Steam.
Yeah, it came out on Steam. Um, Obviously people are pumped about it because it's the first time you're able to play it like in a I guess in a more I guess it's the first time because it's not the first time you play it on PC, but nobody likes Epic, so Steam now having it is like gave it a new audience, I guess. A new PC audience that truly wants to get behind it and enjoy those Kingdom Hearts games. I don't know. I don't know if it did anything new. I'm assuming it just repackaged all of the stuff that was already right. It didn't like do anything new.
No, but I think it now is working correctly on Steam Deck. Because one of the reasons I'd never bought it on the Epic Store is one, they don't have gift cards, and like it's just weird because I live in Japan and had to deal with multiple accounts. They don't sell gift cards, so it's going to be a whole effort to switch my account region. So, but also, I was reading a lot of people talking about how the Kingdom Hearts games were broken on the Steam Deck because you had to like boot it through like emulation layer and stuff like that to get the Epic Store to open and blah blah blah. A lot of cutscenes wouldn't play. Like it'll be a black screen and skip to the next area or stuff like that. So now it being out on Steam, you have official support for the Steam Deck, and it's going to run well. And that ecosystem overall is just a preferred ecosystem. I don't want to buy a product and be locked in a place where I can't play the game or it's a hassle to play it. So I think that's good. And Square Enix has been treating it as this is the first time it's on PC because I
Yes.
think that I don't know if they got burned because they got paid for it, but nobody cared when these games released on Epic Store. Same
Nope.
thing with Final Fantasy. So hopefully Square Enix again will learn their lesson about exclusivity and just put it out where people want to play it.
Yeah, I think they are very much so on the losing end of the exclusivities every time they have done it. I don't think they ever won once. Rise of the Tomb Raider, when they did it with Xbox, they did not win. Because that basically hurt the franchise. It was so stupid. Anyways, it was all their exclusivity deals and things that they do were dumb to me from the beginning, and they always have been. I think they have helped them in some cases where they were probably on their last leg and they needed it, but most of the time that exclusivity creates a problem for the fan base that is growing and seeing new things, and they don't need to play your game. And that's the problem. Like I guess they realize that people actually move on. They don't really care. Like that is
And
probably
nowadays people will wait or they just will never play it.
yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing about it. It's like, does that make sense for my brand? And no, it never does. It never does. It never wants to come out handicapped. That doesn't make sense. So I feel like they are learning their lesson very much so in real time with that previous game that they just released. Well, two previous games they released, which was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Nobody cared about it, and they can feel it. And then the same thing with the Final Fantasy 16. I think it was 16. Yeah. Same thing. Those games came and went. They're not getting the recognition that they deserve because literally they're trapped on a system that nobody cares to try to jump in and play, and it doesn't have a universal appeal like an Elden Ring, where it makes more sense to kind of get behind those games. So, yeah, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. But they learned that lesson. I want them to still continue to be good. I still want them to be great. So I'm glad that Kingdom Hearts have come out. People are enjoying it. People are playing it, and they're loving it for what that game is. But you have to really get with the times now. I think people have so many different options. There's so much out there that you don't want to hinder yourself by trying to back a company. Never made sense in my ever. So just gotta be smart with your business decisions from here on out. You see what Capcom doing. They out here killing it. But yeah, outside of that, I don't really got much else. Um, any final thoughts before we get up out of here, Josh?
No, we are. I think we just passed 180 days of the year, so we're halfway through.
Oh yes,
I
yes,
think
indeed.
this first half has been great. I've been barely keeping up with all these games. So yeah, looking forward to it. But as far as like Metroid, I'm not gonna play it when it comes out unless it's on the Switch too. That was the only other thing I forgot to say. So
Yeah.
it don't matter. Hold off that game to the next system come out, and that's it.
No, for sure. That's a big thing, man. I really feel like they really playing us, and I get it that their games aren't that intensive. Their games don't pose to be graphically appealing, but God dog, I want them to be at some point. I want them to be at least decent. I want them to have a solid and good looking frame rate. I want them to not have to rely heavily on terrible anti-aliasing. I want them to look smooth. So I just want the games to run the way I would think they should run, like most of your Mario games. Like, come on, it's time. So yeah. Anyways, I think with the limitations off of them, they can do whatever they want. I think Zelda is a staple in the franchise in this Switch history. So I think they can do a lot more with some more hardware. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for listening. If you got to this part, you the real OG. I will appreciate you for rocking with us for this long, listening to this many episodes. If this your first episode, we love you. If this your last episode, we appreciate you anyways. Thank you for listening. As always, we will be back next week on time to give y'all weekly dose of gaming news. We will talk to you all next time. Peace.